Today is Thursday, Parashat Balak. Today being the 15th of Tammuz is also the Hilulah of the Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh, Rabbi Chaim ben Attar. And it's a meaningful thing to learn from the commentary of the Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh on his Hilulah. So at the beginning of the Parashah of this week, Vayar Balak ben Tzipor, Balak the son of Tzipor, saw et kol asher Yisrael, Asher Yisrael ha'emori, everything that the Israel did to the Emori nation. And Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh explains, Vayar Balak ben Tzipor, he saw, he didn't say he heard, he saw. Balak the son of Tzipor, Tzipor in Hebrew means bird. Now Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh explains that Balak was a sorcerer who was able to see and have visions of things that will happen in the future, things that happen elsewhere, and he used a certain type of bird. And that bird that he had was a bird that he used in his sorcery, and through that he saw this vision of what the Jewish people did to the Amorite. Now, he was from the country of Midian, and Moab and Midian were usually in conflict with each other. That's the way Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh explained. But here, they united and they made, Balak was from Midian, they made them into their king. Vayagor Moab mipnei ha'am. And Moab was afraid from the Am. The Am means the nation, the Jewish nation. Me'od kiravhu. Vayakotz Moab mipnei bnei Israel. And Moab was distressed from Bnei Israel. So now here this is redundant. Moab was afraid from the nation and then from Bnei Israel. And Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh explains, Kiravu ve'osif lomar vayakotz. Why is it repetitions? The idea here says, Nitkaven lomar, שהגם שנכנס בדגם המגור, עם כל זה היו מוצאים תרופה לדבר בדרך טבע. Says the Am was many, so they were afraid because they had all these multitudes of people that were facing them. But Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh says he could have found the solution b'derech teva, in the way of in the natural, material way. Sheiskeru amim rabim v'chazakim kenegdam. Moab could have hired other nations, mercenaries, to fight against the great multitudes of the Jewish people. But that's why I repeated, they were distressed over Bnei Israel. She'en nitzchonam kefi hateva. Because when the Jewish people win, it's not just according to the straight laws of nature or the material, physical laws, ela benes vafele, but rather by miracle and wondrous ways. Vehu omro vayakotzu bnei Israel, perush heyotam bnei Israel. Hakadosh says that they were afraid, the Moab, from two aspects: the material and the numbers that were facing them of soldiers of Am Israel, but they were more worried from Bnei Israel, from the wondrous and miraculous ways that Hashem protects us, and that's why they were afraid, and they called on Bilam to come and say curses. And Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh explains also, it's not that he had this incredible power of curses, but he knew a certain moment in time of the day that the strict attribute of justice is very pronounced, and he knew about that moment that he would be able to say a curse at that moment. And also he said, Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh says that he had Ayin Hara. So with the combination of these two aspects is what he was able to have that ability. But Hashem did not have that aspect of one moment of strict justice in the days that Bilam was there to try to curse them, and he had only blessings that came out. Another explanation that Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh says about this beginning of the Parashah, he says what he says here. He says, Ki yadati. Balak says, I know that et asher tevarech, whatever you will bless, meborach is blessed. V'asher ta'or yu'an, whatever you curse will be cursed. Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh says that Bilam did not have the power to give blessings. He would know through his sorcery what would happen in the future. And if he knew that somebody was going to get into a higher position, he, through knowing that about the future, he would give him, quote unquote, a blessing to sort of like make him think that he got that position because he's blessing. That's why Balak says, Ki yadati, I know, et asher tevarech mevorach. Whoever you bless will be blessed, because he was Bilam that knew that Balak would become the king over Moab. Since he knew that, he gave him a blessing, so to speak, as if the blessing is what caused Balak to become king. These are some of the explanations of the Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh, who is Hilula is today. We'll just say a short story about him. Don't think that he was an embroiderer with gold threads, which was a profession in Morocco of making embroidery with gold. But he had a principle. He would work a couple of days at the beginning of the month, earn enough money for that month. Once he earned enough for that month, for the expenses of that month, he stopped working. And then he dedicated all this time to just learning Torah. So one time the king needed a bridal dress for his daughter, which was done in the traditional way with embroidered gold threads. And he sent for the Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh, who was an expert professional in that field, to make a dress for his daughter. And Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh told the messenger, sorry, I've earned enough money for this month, I cannot join you. Come next month. And the story goes that the king sent a couple of times messengers again, and finally told him if he would not come, he would throw him in the lion's den. And he threw him in the lion's den. Lions that maybe didn't eat for 3 days, but the lions, in the presence of such a tzaddik, a righteous person, came and sat next to him as the Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh was reading Tehillim or being involved in learning Torah, and they did nothing to him. The king was so impressed that he brought him up and dealt with him in a very respectful manner from that on, and shows the greatness and the holiness of the man who he was, the Ohr Hachaim Hakadosh, whose Hilula is today. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen.